Welcome to part two. We're joined by James, a mumbling so and so from Manchester. How are you doing, James?
Mumbling CUNT. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I've not got up to run anywhere. I'm still
Good
here. I'm
man.
with my flowery wallpaper. Yeah.
Yeah, go on, lad. Go on, lad. Right, right. Do you find it amazing, James, how the media made all these big noises with make it about access and the slip and slide around certain issues? For example, we've got Adam Cattrall said after Fury's first loss that it's lost its sparkle. The Fury Joshua fight, because Joshua had obviously this was before the Dubois loss. Joshua had losses and Fury's had a few close fights and Usyk done him, and he was saying that fight's lost its sparkle and it ain't what it was, and other people have said the same. But now all of a sudden, it looks like somebody's got into their heads. They're now coming out saying it's the biggest fight in boxing, but yet Fury's lost again, and Joshua's been absolutely bladdered and swerved the rematch. So how can these people slip and slide like that, but yet still hold access and command positions in boxing when really they're just like everybody else on social media? They will sell their souls for access. Do you see where I'm coming from? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I certainly do.
What do you think?
Oh, sorry, mate. I was waiting. I thought you was going to tell
Ah,
me
you're
off.
shitting your pants now, aren't you, son? Well, I'm going to keep you in line. Well, too many do it on here. There's only one gaffer on here, and it's me. All right.
I know.
I'm going to keep you all in fucking line, mate. I'm like Kevin at factory. You know,
I know.
I'm only joking.
I know.
It's all banter, and it's all good stuff.
Yeah, of course it is.
He'll
Yeah,
give them,
yeah.
he'll give them people something to talk about in comment section and emails. It keep Cameron amused, won't it, all week? But no,
Of
what do
course
you
it will.
think? Do you think how can these people, within just a space of a few months, and Fury and Joshua have absolutely been bladdered and took apart? How can they jump to other side all of a sudden? I mean, one Castro going up against Bricktop at one point, and he was setting his stall out like Simon Jordan and even my guy, the Cobra. And then all of a sudden, people change, don't they? And the mindset's changed. I don't know. What do you think of it all? What do you think of it all?
It's not even been a couple of months, was it? I watched something the other week with the Gad. Surprise, surprise. And he's turning around and he's saying, "Oh, like, not interested in that fight. He's lost his sparkle." And then you watch Talksport, like the little snippets they do on YouTube, and he's turning around and saying like, "Oh, it's a great fight. It's an absolutely great fight." Like impression, and it's like, well, what? Like they seem to forget that they're on other mediums, and people are tuning into boxing, tuning into more than one channel a lot of the time. I think it's all to do with the paymasters, isn't it? And we talk about it a lot. People are having a word in their shell, and there's people above Catterall, et al., who stand to make a lot of money out of being out in Saudi. So, I think it's all to do with who's paying their wages a lot of the time, except for the Gad, because he tongues everyone's ring piece, doesn't he? He's like a fanboy who's just happy to be there. I can't stand him. Um, but I did find it a bit odd as well, just in further answer to your question. Even on his own medium, Adam Catterall, Fight Disciples, which I listen to, they're even
Yeah.
turning around on there, him and Nick Pete, and saying it's the biggest fight in boxing. So, in
Have they?
terms of that, they're
Uh,
their own.
sorry. Go on,
Sorry. No, no, I was just saying they're their own paymasters, them two. So I don't really know what that is. I think they've just been told, keep your mouth shut, toe the company line, and we can all make a few quid out of this. The joke.
Uh, I hadn't seen the Fight Disciples one because I'm just refusing to watch anything that they do now. I was sub to it. I'm not bothered now. After I saw Adam Cattrall's performance on Torch, but with a guy who he's supposed to can't stand, but yet he'll sit next to him. If you can't stand somebody, why are you going to sit next to him in studio? I don't get that, me. If I don't like somebody,
Mm.
I don't want to be in the company, me. Do you know what I mean? Go out, go
No.
get anybody on here can get Dennis on phone or just ask Mark. 'Cause Dennis is saying so and so's coming down. He said, I ain't staying around here. I don't like him. Dennis said, oh no, I've got to wait with him. I said, I don't like him. I don't want to be sat in here when he gets here, Dennis. No offense, but he's not for me. And that's just how I am. Maybe my coal mining values from how I were fetched up and periods where I've spent long periods in jail, maybe it's hardened me to bullshit and I just can't be around it. I just can't be around it, honestly, mate. I can't be. And do you know what? I'm getting to the stage now with boxing people now where I'm trying to sift through them and thinking to myself, well, who's genuine here? Who is genuine? Who stands
Mhm.
by the word of oak and all that nonsense? Because when it comes down to it, it's all about money. But if it ain't about money, with some of them, it's just about their egos. And I'm just shocked. I'm shocked at what I see from people that I hold in high esteem. And people who I follow on here, these media guys, and I bought into Simon Jordan, I bought into that Adam Catchell. When it suits, their arseholes flat. John Fury's right. When it suits, but then again, I've had John Fury sat here. Sorry, I've been sat here where I am now. Had him on phone 2 hours. Oh, I heard his opinion about boxing people when Tyson went wilderness after he beat Vladimir. And then I see him at shows sat on Frank Warren's knee practically, and I think, oh my God. So it's two-facedness on a massive scale. That's probably why when I was at Dennis's, I used to think to myself, do you know what? I'm glad I've got Porky's Corner because you know what? This ain't going anywhere. He were not going anywhere when I was there with Dennis. We were behind the ball constantly. Boxing were dying on its arse small, and I thought this is not going anywhere. I'm wasting my time here. Promised this, promised that. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's all a load of knackers. And eventually the penny drops, doesn't it? You see through people, don't you, for what they are. Utter bullshitters who just want to be out there. And but when I look at people like Cattrall, I think, wow, you soon change your tune. Who's got in your ear? And then that day I saw Bricktop get stuck into him. He absolutely crumbled, didn't he, ringside? Do you remember?
Yeah,
Absolute melted. And I think,
yeah.
wow, why can you come out, set your stall out, and then melt? Absolutely.
It's Yeah, it's like they don't realise that the camera's on them. I mean, on a very lower level, I got a bit of infamy on Facebook. I went viral for calling Tyson Fury a Wanker, and the abuse I got was absolutely phenomenal. I got called all sorts of names. I won't go through it. But people were going, "Oh, you wouldn't say it to his face," and I went, "Well, no, I've shared it on a medium where millions of people can tune in, they can see what I've said about him. Why wouldn't I say it to his face? I've already said it. It's already out in the ether. I ain't scared of him. If he wanted to hit me, I'd be a very rich man, wouldn't I? So, do you know what I mean? I echo everything you said there, Russ, and not just to kiss your ass, but it's one of the reasons why I stopped going to shows. I used to get invited quite regularly to small shows. I can't stand all the backslapping and all the, oh, you're right, mate. And then I know that you're slagging me off behind my back 2 minutes later. I don't want to be around that. I'd rather be with my son, have a nice night in where I can talk to people that I trust and care about. Do you know what I mean? So I echo your thoughts, definitely.
I've got one here for you. I'm not going to say the kid's name on here, right? This certain person trains somebody. He sat here in this office here, sat here, and he said this to me, he said that to me. And I went, well, that's boxing, you just got to watch your son, haven't you? And then I seen him. That were beginning of week. Come and see me. Then I seen him begin big the not the Saturday after the following Saturday at a show, and he was practically sat on this person's knee, right? And I turned to Dennis and I said, "You see him there?" And what I told you, and he went, "Yeah." And I went, "What's all that?" And Dennis just says, "Well, on a Monday, you can hate somebody, can't stand them, but on a Tuesday, they want to be the best pal if it suits." He says, "If you go up to him now and pull him, I'll tell you what he'll say. He'll say he's doing best for his fighter." Well, I'd had a drink and obviously I'd been partying. I'd been up all day, and I was ready for
Mm.
this. And I was absolutely distraught. And I'd not been with Dennis 12 months at that time. And I thought, wow, it was my first real shock. I bowled straight up. I was fat as a pig at the time. I bowled straight up. I had that big anchor chain on, big old. Wait, what did it weigh? It weighed a ton, half a kilo. It weighed that. I bowled straight up to him. I said, "Here, what did you say, you?" And he were like, "Oh, I've got to do best of my fighter." Exactly what Dennis told me. And Dennis says to me, "See, I told you, didn't I?" That's what they say. And that's the get out. It's like politicians, isn't it? You ask
Hmm.
him a question, they never. You ask him a question, they never answer. It's like Robert Smith. Robert Smith at a show. Every time I used to see Robert Smith, I used to bowl straight over, and people would go, "Oh, don't start no okay." I say, "Here, what's your mark out of 10, Robert, for your performance at the helm of the British Boxing Board of Control?" And he would never give me an answer. He couldn't answer me. And that's like politicians. And that's what boxing people are, politicians. And it can
Hmm.
it drive you crazy. But getting back to this here, what we spoke about, Fury versus Joshua, right? I find it astounding, right, that two men, right, who've got poor CVs, and I mean literally poor CVs, they've both got 10 wins over world champions, right? Five of them are regular champions, but they've got 10 wins over world champions, former, current, and future. Well
Yeah.
done. Well done. In 69 fights, Usyk's got 10, right? In 23 fights, but these, they could easily have 11 losses on the record. Fury could have 7 losses. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do.
Steve Cunningham
Um,
could have been a DQ. The Wilder one, John McDermott, Otto Wallin, the draw with Wilder, and the two he's already lost. They could quite easily be 7 if he weren't aligned with certain promoters, right?
yep.
Joshua's got 4 losses, so it could easily be 11 between them, right? They've both been down on record in the history books, 17 knockdowns, but it could quite easily be 18 because Dubois flattened Joshua and never got that other knockdown, did he? Right, but he finished him
No.
off in the end, didn't it? So they've technically been on the floor 18 times, but yet we have Jeff Powell, right? Jeff Powell in his Daily Mail column saying Tyson Fury is one of the top 25 defensive specialists of all time. Right? What planet are these people fucking on? It's absolutely shocking, mate. It's absolutely shocking. Nobody mentions Fury's drug issues or his drug ban. None of these YouTubers do. It's
No.
absolute BS, mate. What Fury gives us, and these people who basically are not doing their jobs. These are supposed to be media people, but they're not pointing this out. What they're doing, they're trying to sell a product to casuals. That's what they're doing. The
Hmm.
hardcores know all this, but they're not bothered about us, mate. We don't get a say in anything. It's absolutely shocking. It's
Yep.
absolutely shocking. So, but I want to say this before we finish on this. The Gad says AJ Fury has still got dog in them, right? What sort of dog have they got in them? Joshua's shot to death, don't take Jawar rematch, and Fury cannot pull the trigger because his legs have gone. He can't pull the trigger, you know. He were all right on his toes when he could run around and slip and slide and fumble his way to a points win. He can't pull the trigger now. He were made to pull it in the Wilder fights, right? He were made to pull it.
Yeah.
Can't pull it now. And what they're talking now, I mean, I should really put this out as an headline here, but I'm not going to do. They're talking now, I've heard on Grapevine today, that Vladimir and Fury are going to do a second one. Now, that'd just be Fury's CV from day one, wouldn't it, really? You know, your
Yeah.
Chisoras, your Whites, your Ngannou's, your Wallins, your Serifa Sarifis. And now he's going to go to Vladimir, who's 49 in a couple of weeks. If Fury does that, boxing's it's in gutter. If he fights Vladimir next and not Joshua, like not that that should happen anyway, but if he fights Vladimir next, James, but where does boxing where does it go then? Do you see UFC eclipsing it once and for all then?
Um, I mean, they are different mediums, aren't they? It's like saying rugby and football, really. But I would, I'd answer your question with a bit of a question. It's still relevant, but we would. I think boxing's in the gutter a little bit if Chisora manages to beat Wallin because that shows Fury up for what he really was, doesn't it? You know what I mean? This defensive specialist. If Derek Chisora is a complete vegetable, if he can manage to pull it off, what does that say about Tyson Fury's CV?
I
You
know.
know? Um, But I saw that as well today, Russ, about Vladimir and Tyson Fury.
Uh,
Nothing shocks me. Nothing shocks me at all.
Burnt Bont, one of their, like one of Burnt Bont's team was saying something uh, on social media about it. One of that lot. And you could see it. You could see Vladimir been preparing ages for this because he want revenge, wasn't he? But you could see it happening. You could see they're trying to sell it, and there's no belt needed, and all this. And do you know what? It'd be an absolute shit feast if Vladimir came back at 49 to fight him. Right? I mean, where would we be going with that? I mean, come on. I mean, is that where
Yeah.
we're at now? What next? What we're going to have next? David A on Instagram doing his twists and turns, saying I'm eating kangaroo meat, stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet. Or are we going to have Tony the Bell End coming back? What next?
I mean, it's been spoken about, hasn't it? Like both of them have said, "Oh yeah, I fancy it." I mean, Tony Bellew wanted to do it against Jake Paul, but he's still getting back in the ring. Like I just think, I think what it is, boxers now have been given a platform with all this YouTube crap, given a platform to massage their ego, and it's sort of lulled them into a false sense of security of thinking that, oh yeah, I've done a bit in the gym, I can fight now, because I can just fight Jake Paul, or I can join the circus, So really, the YouTuber boxing's to blame for that, lulling people into a false sense. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, it's just winding me up. I mean, to be honest with you, right? If he wants to get back in mix, why don't they go and fight Caballero or Martin McCauley? Right? If you want to make a statement, go have a non-title fight and get back in mix like Ali had to do when he lost. He had to come back, didn't he? They all had to go fight somebody, didn't he? He had to fight Fraser, didn't he? Ali
Yeah.
when he came back and go have a fight with somebody who's highly ranked or and get you sent back in mix and fight somebody where you're up against. I want to see him up in tests. I don't want to see
Hmm.
Pulev and Joshua or Joshua and Dylan White again or Fury Chisora 4. I don't want to hear that load of shit.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I want to see
Yeah.
people coming out and speaking their minds, like David Allen's now coming out saying, "Well, I watched it and I thought I got beat." I mean, what is he doing? He's trying to play the game or something. What's all that? Why would he come out like that when everybody knows that David Allen won the fight? So why come out now and say, "Well, I got beat"? Is it because he's sweating, thinking he's not going to get that payday?
I mean,
Why would you
he's
say
already
that? Why would you say that?
he's already said he doesn't want the rematch, though, hasn't he? So I don't really understand what's going on in his brain there, to be honest.
Are they brain dead? Are they brain dead, these boxers? I want a rematch. I don't want a rematch. I want robbed. Oh, I've decided now I want robbed. He won. What's going on here? They're trying to play poker with Eddie Hills. Hills! Because he ain't bothered about any of that shower. He's bothered about
No,
himself and lining his pockets. They don't even care about Johnny Bosch. Do you know what I mean? And Elmer Fudd. Do you think Eddie Hills cares about them? Promoters are
no,
detached from boxers. Do you understand?
yeah.
Calzaghe and Frank Warren were in love with each other when they were promoting one. They look how it ended up. Soon as it suited, he said, "Oh, you had a verbal agreement with me," jokes as I didn't. You ended up in court. It's all knackers. Look at Yard and Bricktop. Look, it is what it is. Look at Eddie Hills and Dylan White. Why is Eddie Hills not going into bat for Dylan White and saying to them at Saudi, "We need Dylan out here"? Dylan White's not getting Saudi dates. Everybody knows it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he
That's
messed up about Wembley. Bricktop's got a long memory, hasn't it? You're not
yeah,
getting any dates in Saudi, Dylan. That dog won't hunt.
no.
Jesus. But that with David Allen has done me well. I've looked at it now and I thought he won. What? Are you? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Unless you're trying to get Eddie Earns all. Why say that?
when when
Jesus.
he's when he said he doesn't want the fight, he's actually come out and said he didn't want a rematch. He weren't interested. So I just don't get it. Maybe he's a bit silly.
Listen, Elmer Fudd lost against Dave Allen, the White Rhino. Elmer Fudd lost, and Daddy Fudd is doing sit downs with just about everybody, isn't he? Going on
Yep.
about it. And now David Allen's getting him the perfect ticket. Mark Tibbs is doing sit down after sit down, going on about the fight as well. So everybody's acting out of character, aren't they? They all slip and slide from their opinions from day one to now. You see where I'm coming from? From
Yeah,
day one to now, they're all acting out of character. They're all changing their minds. It's like, yeah, Fury and Joshua, it's a busted flush. Colin Hart was saying that one in last year. Look what he's saying now.
yeah,
What's happening? As somebody had a whisper in their ear hole.
yeah. Big,
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. We've got Coogan there interviewing Daddy Fudd, right? And he's tiptoeing around the question. Well, could you see? What on earth are you doing, Coogan? You're a good interviewer. Go straight to it and say, listen, Daddy Fudd, your lad got beat, in my opinion. That's all you've got to say. Yeah, it was a close fight, but it weren't hard to score. It was
no,
so half and half. Look, everybody knows he won first four, then he won 10th. And David Allen won other ones, but one with a 10-8. It's not rocket science, is it? It's shit.
no,
Barry McGuigan's right. There's too many people slipping and sliding. They're not coming out and want to speak in truth because they're thinking about their own positions. None of them have got any knackers. None of them have got any knack. I'm disappointed with David Allen. My God.
yeah.
Where's it coming from with all that shit? Absolute shit. Unbelievable.
It is.
Oh,
It
man.
is.
Hey?
Yeah, it's very disappointing. And I think what doesn't help with boxing is they let anybody in. So there are people there with their hands out who don't really do anything for fighters, don't really do anything for promoters, but they're just allowed to walk in. Do you know what I mean? Like there used to be this guy years ago, Simon Clayton, I think he was called
I
Claymaker.
remember we ripped everybody off with them tickets.
Yeah,
Mr.
how he's not dead, I
Manager,
don't know.
eh?
How he's not dead, I don't know.
Oh, he's done a runner, hasn't he? He did a runner in and didn't
Yeah,
he? Maybe
they
not.
did.
Right.
Yeah, they did find him, and he did a video where he was nearly crying, didn't he, and all that. But what I'm saying is, he appeared out of nowhere, and like he's everyone's mate, and like,
Give him,
oh yeah, yeah,
they so give
hey
him
mate,
what control, give him a manager's license, didn't they?
yeah. But what for? What for us? This is what I'm saying. Like that's the problem. If boxing was a bit more closed door policy, and you have to prove your credentials, it wouldn't be as easy. Like there'd be less people holding the caps out because you have to be there on merit, otherwise you're gone. You can't just stay around like a bad smell. You prove what your worth is, or you leave. Do you know what I mean? That's the
You know who
problem with
did him?
boxing.
You know who did him, that cunt? He drove from out your way where you live now, right? Because he went from over your way, wasn't he? He drove
Oh,
from
Claymaker.
Claymaker
Claymaker,
box.
yeah, that's what he used to call himself. No, he's from Wickenham, but he was friends
Yeah,
with John
over
Ryder.
your way, where over Lancashire up that, and he drove from
Oh,
up.
yeah, sorry.
He drove
Yeah,
from there all the way to John Ryder's house, early hours at morning with a birthday cake.
with a birthday cake. I heard that.
Yeah, what, what,
Yeah.
what?
Remove
Oh,
your tongue from his arse. Yeah, absolute joke.
yeah. Well, I remember a
Doing,
few squealing on my channel when he lifted up. I did a video on that, on my channel when I first started it. There's a video on my channel regarding him, and there were a couple. There were a well-to-do couple. I think they might have been from Birmingham or something. They had
yeah,
Range Rovers, big houses, and lot. He lifted their legs with Joshua tickets as well. I think that I had them on phone to me and all that, and I was like, "Well, what can I do?" and all that. You make your bed, you lie in it. He lifted Brian King's leg with 2.5 grand in off at Asylum. Brian
yeah,
King. He
yeah, I
lifted
heard that.
leg and Brian. I like Brian King. Brian goes to work like everybody else, and he's a funny character. And he lifted his leg, and then he kept teasing him with text message. Yeah, I'm going to sort it tomorrow and all that. It kept going on
Scum,
and on for weeks. And look, we all know what,
scumbag.
don't we? But you meet
Yeah,
people like that all the time through boxing. You meet people that want to shaft you and lift your leg, and that's the nature of the beast, isn't it? I'm
that's
afraid.
the problem. That's the problem. That's exactly why. We're being so negative every week. Like I love it. I love just sitting and chatting about it. But there's very little good to say a lot of the time. We're getting the big fights at the moment. But you weigh it against the absolute myriad of shit. You know what I mean? 60-40, really, isn't it?
Listen, mate. Border control knocked me back on a trainer's license, right? I got all that weight I've got myself in fantastic shape. And then a copper from up here knocked me back because I'd done a copper. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to get this yet. Chief of Police, Les Potts there, on border control meeting at that hotel in Bradford. I thought, oh, I'm knackered here. He had my record in front of him and everything. When I walked in, there was a photograph of me when I had flat top on my record. I thought, well, I ain't got a chance here. We've not got a
No.
chance. But look, it is what it is, isn't it? But they won't give me a license. They give him one, didn't they? But I know people that have chopped people up with swords, and they give them licenses. I know people that have been done for arson, and they give them
Yeah.
license. So you tell me, mate. Them who've been done for arson, don't give them a swan bester to keep warm in winter. That's all I'm gonna. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, honestly, mate. But
Yeah.
what can you do? But getting back to boxing at the moment, they're saying that they're struggling with Ben Eubank fight, but I just think that's the narrative that Eddie Hills and Spotty Frank are putting out because they're trying to rush Eubank into a decision. What do you think to that?
I think as well, not just that, but I think they're just letting it stew. Oh, we're struggling. Let it just stew and boil over a little bit more, and because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Conor Ben either, do you?
Desperate
We
to make
can,
that, mate. Desperados. They don't like losses. They're accountants at Matchroom. They want that money back, sure as eggs are eggs. I can assure.
ironic, yeah, ironic. He used the phrase "eggs are eggs," but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, when all's said and done, we've got two kids who went to private school, right? Who were fetched up in privilege, basically going to fight each other. One a small welterweight that could do light welter, his words, not mine, and one that's fought at super middleweight. So forget health and safety, forget Brooke Golovkin, because this is on an even worse scale than that. This one, isn't it? Really, if you want to look at size issues and that. So forget Brooke Golovkin and everything that everybody said after that about safety reasons and that. I just think it's craziness, but they're not going to let this go because there's too much money being put into this, into that first promotion, wasn't there? I remember being in Manchester and seeing it up on this big, massive skyscraper in Manchester town centre. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? The big electronic billboard thing.
yeah,
So and obviously the fight didn't happen, did it? But of course it will happen eventually, I think, because they'll have to come to the table. Because where's Eubank going to go? Maybe Bricktop might be trying to force his issue, taking legal action against Eubank. There's a lot of moving parts, isn't there? People jostling for position and this and that. But the only two fights that they want to talk about is Fury Joshua. I've just told you it's a busted flush. They've been down on floor 17, 18 times. They've got what? Six losses and a draw between them, which could easily be 11 losses. And they're both
yeah,
shot to bits. Both of them cannot pull the trigger. If he couldn't pull the trigger in that Debar fight, he'll be even worse now, Joshua. And Fury couldn't pull it in that Usyk rematch because he can't get out of the way. He's too fat. Because he
yeah.
can't, he can obviously he can pull the trigger and punch, but he don't want to throw it because he's frightened what's coming back. Simple as
Mm-hmm.
that. So Fury, why don't you fight Dubois next after he's beat Parker? You know
It's a
what I
good
mean?
idea, that. But does he deserve it? He's not fought his way back up, like you were saying, Porky. You know.
No, he ain't exactly, but that's what how they'll work it. But can you see him fighting Vladimir for no belt? I can see him fighting Vladimir. His stupid dad's running around, little Johnny Fury, big fighting man, 101 hard road, never had a bare knuckler in his life, goes around filling people in half his size, bully. Let me tell you about him, mate. He's running around now saying that they've still got a contract for Ngannou fight. You know,
Oh,
the
for God's sake.
second one. I mean, oh my God.
Because they need the money, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Shut up and retire, you dick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So okie dokie. But just gonna stop on this one here. What do you think is going to happen with Joe Joyce? Because I'm hearing that he's really, really struggling to hold conversations and not lose his like train of thought. And I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it's a regular thing with him and all that. So who's going to keep licensing him?
He's not. I mean, they might eventually just stop with him. It's not like with Chisora, is it? Because we always say he's a bit of a vegetable and all that. But Chisora's got personality. He appeals to the casuals, whereas Joe Joyce is quite boring. He's boxing's equivalent of Steve Davis, isn't he? You know? And like you said there, I've seen it, and you've seen the interview, and yeah, where he just stops mid-interview, like someone's powered him down. I think the fact that he can't really generate a pound note and he can't bring the crowds in like a Derek Chisora, eventually it will just fizzle out. Hopefully it fizzles out because it could end up like Don Curry has been diagnosed this week with encephalopathy or whatever it's called. So I don't want that to happen because he's a nice guy, Joe Joyce, isn't he?
Yeah, you know why Don Curry's like that? Because he never ever got over what the ragamuffin man did to him in Atlantic City, 39
I
year
know.
hot bang.
Yeah, I love him. I don't know how true it is because my dad's a bit of a Billy bullshitter, but he did tell me that when Lloyd Hannigan went into the lodge and he announced he was going to turn professional, people started laughing because he was such an awful, awful amateur. My dad was a lodge boy, and he told me that. But again, I don't know how true it was. So to go from an absolute awful amateur to being, well, arguably pound for pound number one, it's quite a feat, wasn't it? So I've got time for Lloyd Hannigan.
Good, good. We'll finish off on this one then, James. Ben Whittaker, or should we call him Ben Quitaker, after that fight against Liam Cameron? Is he going to
Yeah.
fight Liam Cameron next and put Liam out in his misery, or is he going to swerve it? What do you think?
No, he's already made noises that he's going to swerve it, hasn't he? And Liam's come out and said on Twitter, are we going to make the fight? If you're making excuses at an early stage, or it's not even early, if you're making excuses now, he'll look for any reason to just dodge the fight. He can just turn around and say, "Well, it was a draw. We don't need to fight. I'm the money man. Let's keep navigating another path." That's what I think's going to happen.
And he'll go around outside and get Liam down the line, down the road. Do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that'll happen with Johnny Fisher and White Rhino. Get Dave when Dave's been knocked about a bit more.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okie dokie then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, mate. You've been a real tonic. Hope you're well.
Thank you.
No
All
problem.
good.
We'll have you on
Take
again.
care, Ruff.
Let's come on again.
Yeah, definitely. I'll see you next week or this week or whatever. Just let me know.
Brilliant. All right, then. Well,
All
listen,
right.
you take care. Cheers, mate.
And you, mate. Lots of
Thanks.
love. See you in a bit. Bye.
Cheers, James. Right. Well, that was James. Women love him, men want to be him. That's about it, boys and girls. I hope you lot are enjoying this videos. I hope you like the one tonight that's on the next Golovkin video. A lot of effort gone into that, and we're going to be having Adam and Tornado Tim on again at some point, probably at end of week, and when you've all digested the first video. And I hope that you're going to follow Tornado Tim's journey because he's going to be backed by Spartan Demolition and Scott Brunt, and onwards and upwards. All right, I see big things happening for that kid. All right, that's about it. If anybody wants to do a Zoom, get in touch. It's porkycorner@mail.com. It's the bottom left-hand corner on the screen, and that is it, boys and girls. So I'm just going to get ready now for Andy, who's not from Aberdeen. One peace out. Thanks for liking or subscribing and leaving a comment. Booyaka.